just drop a one in the chat. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So we have some homeowners here as well. Okay, awesome, awesome. So I want to enlighten you. I've been in this real estate game since 2007. I've seen highs and lows. I've seen every kind of market there is. The last market where the interest rates went up really high, honestly, was a little bit of a newer not market for me, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. But real estate moves in cycles and there's booms and busts, and I can't get into the economics of it today. But what I want to do is I want to share with you guys different ways of making real estate or different ways of making money in real estate that a lot of people haven't actually considered. So it's not only buying and selling that will get you into real estate. And we won't have time on this call, but a lot of the ways I share, you could actually joint venture with others or partner with other people to make money in real estate. So let me share my screen and we will begin this shortly. So give me a second. Is it under more? There we go. Share screen. Beautiful. Awesome. Can you guys see my screen? Awesome. Let me see.
Yes, we can.
Okay, beautiful. All right. So let me move this here and present. All right, beautiful. So again, thank you guys for joining us here on Billionaires Connect. And we want to help you navigate real estate. In other words, give you an opportunity to either increase your existing portfolio or an opportunity to get into real estate. And I want to be able to share different avenues to help people basically give you guys an edge in the market to be able to grow your portfolio, and it's not just buying and selling real estate. All right. So how can you buy a real estate property in high interest rate economy? And that's what we will be discussing today. So a little bit about me. I know you guys already read a little bit. I know that big introduction. So something very simple. Again, I've been in the business since 2007, and I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell and invest into real estate. I'm also a trader, investor, and entrepreneur, and I like to educate and mentor others to succeed in building their wealth portfolio through real estate and e-commerce. All right. So I already asked this question and you guys already answered. How many ways are there to invest in real estate? Some said five, some said four. So I'm going to share with you the different ways, and some of them might actually surprise you. All right. So here are some of the roads or paths to real estate success, right? Number one, a lot of people have this already. Primary residence, where you're buying your own property to live in. You're paying down on your mortgage to a balance of zero. Nowadays, people don't even pay down their mortgage. They just either sell or refinance or take the equity out, which is fine. But it's beautiful because you get to recapture your principal, and over time, you have no kind of overhead or let's say rent to pay if you do keep your property, except for taxes and insurance. But this also leads to building your wealth and increased net worth over time. So primary residence is seen as an investment in the eyes of the bank. If you speak to other people, they might say it's a liability. Just depends on who you ask, because it's taking money out of your pocket. Robert Kiyosaki says your primary residence is actually a liability because you don't own the property until it's paid off free and clear. However, some people look at it as an investment vehicle. It's just really your perspective. For me, I consider it as an investment, but it's not an passive investment. It's an active investment. And yes, you don't own it until you pay off the mortgage, but that's most properties anyways. But you do have a little equity in there that is yours that you can leverage for the future. Next, we have commercial properties. Of course, you guys know apartments, plazas, gas stations, lands, malls, resorts, hotels, agriculture, farming. It's a very broad topic. So commercial covers a lot, but within commercial, there's sub niches, which I'm going to be sharing in here. The next is mortgages. A lot of people don't know that you can actually become a lender by investing into real estate, into a MIC, which is a mortgage investment corporation, which includes syndicated mortgages, private lending like first, second, or third mortgages, and you're able to receive dividends or receive interest payments, whether on a quarterly, monthly, or yearly basis. And as Canadians, you can use your RSPs to actually redirect your RSPs into some of these type of investments, right? So that's something you would have to speak with your financial advisor. So if you guys are sitting on money and are just doing nothing, and you have money in your RSPs, you actually can lend that money out to syndicated mortgages, to mix, to developers, in order for you guys to receive income. Next is pre-construction, which is what we're going to go really in depth today. And that's the purchase of development contracts. And the beauty about pre-construction is you can, depending on the contract, you can sell some of those contracts before it closes if there's equity in there for you to make a little bit of money. You also have the opportunity to make money on the appreciation of the project or on of the property, because as developers build around it, as they were developing your property, the land value is increasing and the area is increasing in value. So a lot of people see a huge kind of turn of investment when invested in pre-construction. So that's something we'll be discussing a little bit more tonight. Next, we have sale of a business. You can actually purchase an existing business, such as a convenience store, pizza shop, coffee shop, laundromat, hair salon, you name it. You can buy out that existing business. You can either continue to expand it, change it, whatever it is you want to do. You take over the existing client base, you take over the existing lease, you take over the existing cash flow of the property, and you're able to actually buy a business in this area. And I've seen businesses for as low as like $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000, depends on what it is. And you guys can get into real estate that way. Next, of course, we talk about developer. You can become a developer in building. And when you're building properties, you will be able to purchase land and build residential or commercial subdivisions or communities, or you're able to buy single plots of land and build estate homes, or maybe touch upon an existing home and make it a lot better. And then you can sell the property. And then for developer, we also have the investing aspect, where if you don't want to go out and buy the land and build and do all that work, you can just partner with a developer to provide soft costs in developing a project, where your principal is actually tied to the land, and you're able to earn anywhere from 8 to 12% per year. It just depends on the project, sometimes even more. And they have at the end a balloon payment to give you back your principal. And if they make additional amounts of money or returns, sometimes they give you an added bonus at the end as well. It just depends on the term and the contract of that with the developer. Next is franchising. You can buy into existing businesses with successful systems and models that allows you to simply plug and play. They provide all the education and tools you need to succeed. Something like Tim Hortons, McDonald's, and honestly, those franchises are in the business of real estate. As much as you think they're in the business of business and selling burgers and stuff, a lot of these companies actually own the land that they are sitting on. So they understand real estate, and that's actually how some of these franchises are there for so long, is simply because they own the property under them. Nobody has, I don't know one. If I was to ask you, has anybody ever heard of McDonald's going out of business? Like, I have never seen a McDonald's get tear down or closed. And even if it does close, the franchise is still there. Like, I've never seen McDonald's as a franchise ever go down. And part reason a lot of people don't understand is they're actually in the business of real estate. They own a lot of the real estate that they're sitting on. Next thing is timeshares. A lot of people don't even know this exists, but you can actually form a shared property agreement or ownership in which a person buys the right to a vacation property for a set period of time. Usually once a year, you're able to go in and use the property. A lot of this has to do more with vacation homes, timeshares, condo hotels, where you can actually buy a piece of it, and maybe 4 weeks out of the year or a month or two, you can go and spend time there. However, the property is used for commercial purposes to make money, and then they pay you out your set percentages. So timeshares are also available, not very common in, let's say, Canada, but internationally, there are opportunities to invest in timeshares. And then we have cottages. You can actually purchase a cottage, and then as soon as I say cottage, people are like, it's cottage, I want to go out and go spend time at my cottage. We hear that a lot, but actually cottage is a very good business to get into, especially during peak season. You most likely will have all your cottages rented out, and it's not very cheap to enter. So you could purchase cottages in high demand areas, for example, Muskoka, and rent them out. They provide really good cash flow during a high season and is very, very, very profitable, highly profitable. Now you have Airbnb. A lot of people don't know. They've changed the rules now. But with Airbnb, you can actually purchase your property and you can list it on the Airbnb website and have it leased out for you, or you could manage it on your own and you register that property on the Airbnb website. I think there's rules to it right now. So if you do want to get involved, that's something you'd have to speak to your real estate partner about, but you can actually do that. And it does cash flow, and it's really good if you manage it well, if you understand the business aspect of it, and if you're able to market it really well, make sure that you provide good service for the people that are attending. So there are pros and cons to it, but it produces a great cash flow vehicle for you. And it's a lot more than rent, right? So some people prefer that. Before, you used to be able to sublease and do Airbnb, not as much, because, you know, when you do sublet, you don't have that full control, and some landlords don't like you to use their property as Airbnb because they have less control over that property. But you can purchase a property for that. Next is rent to own. Now we know it on the buyer side, but on the investment side is very, very lucrative. You can become a rent to own investor where you buy a property for someone else and arrange a buyback contract. Typical rent to owns can sometimes be as high as 20 to 30% return on investment per year, depending on the structure. And I like rent to own because when you're a rent to own investor, you do not have to worry about being a landlord. Most of the times, the person in the unit chooses the property, they're very well invested in it and they're taking care of it because it's going to be their own. So if you have a good rent to own prospect and a partner, you can literally be making a lot of money simply with rent to own, and you never have to really be a landlord. And a lot of investors kind of like that. Next one is wholesaling, where you can find good deals and flip it to other investors. And a lot of people don't know this. For example, if you were to come to me and say, Mark, I have a good distressed property, a good, property I can flip, and I run the numbers, I look at the property, I say, okay, there's potential profit that we can make on this type of property. We structure it, put it on the contract, and then we put an assignment clause and flip it to an investor who then buys a property, who still make money, and maybe put 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 there in for you, so that when the deal closes, you get paid. And then that could be your base money, where you now can take it and then flip your own property, or buy an existing property, whatever it is you choose to do with it. Of course, we have distressed properties like rehabbing in high demand places, foreclosures, power of sales, buying them at a discounted price, doing the renovations and selling it at a high market value. That also includes seller take back type of deals, where you can actually get the seller to be the lender, and you don't have to go to the bank and they provide the mortgage and you're able to take over. And then there's just so many ways to structure it. But distressed properties is an actual option. The next one a lot of people are not aware of is property management. You can actually become a property management, and no, you don't have to be a realtor. You can actually take a course on it. You can become a property manager and create a company that helps manage rental units for other investors who may not have the time nor the capacity to manage the units on their own. Some investors are not even in the country, so they rely on very good property management companies to kind of manage their portfolio for them. And of course, we have landlord, single family residential investing, duplex, basement, triplex, quadplex. 1 to 5 units in Canada is considered residential. 5+ units is considered commercial. So if you want that cash flow producing type of regular income, then the way to go is to be a landlord. And of course, there's pros and cons to that. But if you find very good tenants in a very good area, this produces very stable income for you and your family for years to come. All right. And I think this is the last one. Don't worry. Like I said, there's a lot, but I want to share with you some of the most common, but some of the ones you guys probably may not have heard of. Next thing we have is real estate investment groups, which allows individuals to invest. And these groups buy, renovate, and invest in income producing properties and share the profits amongst themselves. So you kind of put your money in a group that does all the work, and then they pay you a percentage of the deals. You can be actively involved when it comes to REITs, but with REITs, it's a little different. Now, REITs are real estate investment trusts. They own, operate, or finance income producing real estate, but they pay dividends to their investors. And most of them are publicly traded, and it's more passive, and they have lower barrier or requirements to getting in. So those are also there in case you guys are interested in allowing your money to work for you and you don't want to have to put in the work. Next one is note selling. A lot of people don't know this, but this is the buying and selling of mortgage deeds or notes. Lenders sell these notes to each other all the time, and either to get out of, let's say, a defaulting mortgage, or they want to just get liquidity, or maybe they have too much of a type of mortgage in their books and they want to sell that off. Yes, you can actually buy mortgages, and the person who has a mortgage doesn't even know. Right? So as a private sector, you have the opportunity to also get that done if that's a way you want to make money. But if you buy discounted notes, you can buy it at a discount, hold that note, and then you would make the, I guess, the profit margin on it. And then if you keep doing that, you can actually build a sizable portfolio. And of course, we have buy and hold land. A lot of people can just buy land and hold it for either generational wealth building, or to sell when an area is about to go or undergo a major development. And one of the ways people are like, how can I cannot tell where to buy the land? I would say buying land is a long-term thing. So I would go to city planning, go to the cities you're interested in, and check out what the plans for the cities are. Typically, you can actually ask, and they have city like plans and things they're looking to do. Look at what the areas of development in the next 5-10 years are, and maybe you can go out in those areas and see possibly if there's any land for sale that you can buy. And if you just buy and hold, it's a little bit of, let's say, luck here. You don't know when they will build, but at the end of the day, it's real estate, it's land. And if nothing happens, you can also transition the land into your family or your people after you, if you were to kind of leave. So it's more of a generation wealth type of thing. But if you are able to get access to land that is in demand when it's about to be built, you literally could turn a small amount to millions and millions of dollars at that time. So that is one alternative. Today's session, though, we're going to talk about pre-construction investing, how to buy a pre-construction property in today's high interest rate market. And it's going to be presented by Catherine Entry. She's a seasoned realtor, and she used to focus on residential, but now she has a very high drive in doing pre-construction properties and deals. So she's very knowledgeable in that arena. And today she's going to share with us some of the pros, some of the cons, and even some projects that we can actually participate in and start making money today. So Catherine, are you there? I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Yes.
Before Catherine go on, Mark, does anybody have any question for Mark at this time? We will leave some time at the end for questions, but for now, does anybody have anything? I think, Grace, you had your hand up. Thank you. I'm gonna admit you. Do you have a question?
Well, I see
Go ahead, please.
She's not able to unmute herself, so I would have to do that.
Can you do that? Can you do
Yeah.
that? Thank you.
All right, Grace.
Oh, should I mention the raffle or?
Yes,
Yeah,
please, you can go ahead.
Please do, please do.
Oh, okay. Yes, by the way, guys, I forgot to mention the raffle to you guys. So we do have a giveaway for you guys where if you enter your name into the draw, you will get up to $5,000 towards your next purchase. So it can go towards your closing costs. It can go towards your, let's say, your mortgage, whatever it is that you negotiate with your realtor. But well, the good thing about it is you don't have to buy it now. Once, let's say, you are the winner, whenever you're ready to buy, you can just cash in that voucher with our team. So so in other words, don't miss that. Don't let it slide by. Enter the draw. It is completely free, and it's our gift to you guys in the community. So take advantage of it.
Okay.
So there is a question by Kendra. I don't know if you guys.
No, it's Grace. Grace first.
Oh, okay, Grace. My bad. My apologies.
Okay, so my question is about for all the investment that you talk about, they're okay with me. The only one I'm curious about is timeshares. Isn't that a risky? Isn't that risky?
In the sense of
How much do you know about timeshares?
oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, so for me personally, I have been involved in a few timeshare deals. My knowledge on it, I would say, is at like a 70%. Now, there's risk to timeshares in the sense where it's a business, right? It carries a business risk, and it also carries a real estate risk. But at the same time, that's where you would have to do your own due diligence and just make sure whatever you're invested in, just like any real estate property, you know the area, or not even know, but get informed or knowledgeable about the area, because it is all about location. So if you have a very good property that's in a very good location, let's say it's running as a condo hotel, for example, or a condo hotel resort, and it's in a very good prime location, then you guys should be okay in regards to investing in it. So there is risk like any other risk into real estate, but because it has a business component to it, that's where a lot of businesses fail. But with timeshares, research and things have been done. Plus, you have a property that kind of holds your principal. So if anything, they have to sell the property, you should be able to get your principal back.
Yeah, according to my banking background for over 35 years, that is one investment I would not recommend to anybody, because it's some, if you don't know what you're getting into, it can be a big problem.
Right. And I agree with you. That's why I said a lot of like every investment, whether you're buying and flipping, it carries an element of risk, right? So my job is to kind of help show the different avenues there are. For example, if we ever had a webinar on specifically timeshare, we would have had to make sure we do our research and thoroughly vet everything out before we bring it to the community and share exactly what this opportunity is, with the risks. But people will always have to, of course, do their own due diligence and speak with their financial advisor. I wouldn't necessarily say never invest in anything. I agree with you. If you don't have the knowledge, don't invest. But there's risk in all levels of real estate. If, for example, a couple of my clients purchased real estate when the market turned and was not able to close on their home, put down 6 figures on deposit and lost, right? So you could say real estate's risky. They lost 6 figures, but it's just timing and sometimes the market and other factors that sometimes you don't have control over. And that's the risk we take when it comes to real estate. So I wouldn't say it's completely like every single person that invests loses money. I wouldn't say that. I would just say just further due diligence is required. But if you're not knowledgeable and you don't know what you're doing, I agree, don't get involved. But if you kind of understand the game and you know how to play it and win, then go ahead. That's all I would advise. You know what I mean? So
thank you. Thanks.
Awesome.
Thank you, Mac. Okay, so for now, I see Kendra has a hand up. Do you have a question, Kendra? Tawa, you want to allow her to ask a question, please?
Yeah, should go ahead. She's already muted.
Okay, go ahead, Kendra.
No, my question was, so my home is, like, me and my sister own the home. It was willed to us, so it's debt free. So I want to get into like the real estate world, but she's not ready, or if ever, or I don't know. But what would your suggestion be, like, to kind of just start out? Like, would like, for someone starting out, like, do you think that it should be something just as simple as like buying like a duplex, or like getting into like commercial? Like what would your suggestion be?
I think that would be more of like if I was to sit like with clients or sit with you, it really would boil down to where your knowledge is in real estate and what you want to do. Do you want to be an active investor, a passive investor? Passive investing, you won't make as much, but you don't have to work either into it, and you let others work and pay you out dividends. If you want to be more active and you want to make those big chunk change in real estate and all those things you see people doing to make a lot of money, then it comes with a lot more risk, and it also comes with some work. And if you're willing to put in the work, I would say, yeah, go on the active side. I think for people, I don't know your situation, so I can't advise and say this is the best route to go. But what I would say is you to look at the different avenues and see the pros and cons and see where your risk appetite is and what you're comfortable with starting out. So maybe it could be a duplex, maybe it could be a triplex, maybe it could be just buying your first rental property and experiencing how it is to be a landlord, right? If that doesn't work, you can sell the property and go into something different. Maybe you want to start off in a MIC, where you give them the money and they do that job for you and they pay you dividends, right? So there's just different ways to go about it. Now, you did mention something about your sister owning the house with you. That's also may pose a problem because if in order to get equity out, you would need her to sign if both of you are on the deed. So something like that is where you would have to decide whether or not you guys, if you want to take your share off, you have to refinance and take your cut. If you guys need to sell the property and take your cut, but you definitely will need her on board as to whatever decision you make, because it will affect her as well, because you guys already paid off your mortgage free and clear. So technically, you can live the rest of your life mortgage free. So another way you can look at it is if you're living in a mortgage, that your house that you're not paying anything for, maybe sit with your financial advisor and the money you would pay for your mortgage, let's say put it away in stocks or in investments and stuff that will earn you dividends because your house is already paid for, so you don't have to worry about a mortgage. There's just different ways to go about it, but it would just require you to sit down and look at all the avenues and see which one will best work for you, and then you choose the one that will work for you currently and your future self. Like in 5-10 years down the road, what do you want to do? Some people might come to me and say, Mark, I want to own 10 units in the next 5-10 years. How can I make that happen? Okay, so we'll run the numbers and we'll create a plan, right? But it has to be something you want to do, and it shouldn't be something because someone else is doing, that's what you're going to do. No, it should be, what are your goals? What's your risk appetite? What exactly are you looking to achieve? You already have your house free and clear, right? So rather than maybe take equity out of your home, are you able to save now extra money because you don't have to pay a mortgage? Let that money be your down payment so your house is still free and clear, right? I'm seeing a lot of things here. So just read between the lines.
I know
a
what
lot
you
of
mean.
stuff you can do, right? So it just depends. You know what I mean? So
And then I just have one more quick question. Like education wise, like I know you said like just learning more, but where would you suggest to like learn more? Like would it be YouTube? Like what would you suggest? And sorry, and the other thing was you said like getting in, like there's like a group, I think you said. I tried to write it down, but I missed it. Something about like where you can kind of put your money in together with people, but like where would you even find those people to reach out to even sit down to even create something like that? Like would it just have to be you just got to stumble across them?
no, like I know of REITs. I know people who run REITs. I also know of let's say developers that are looking for investor partners if that is something interests you. So it's, you could sit down and I could kind of maybe recommend what a couple of people around me to you. If I don't, I know people that know people that know people. So it's just a matter of picking up the phone and saying, hey, I have a client here. This is what they're looking for. Do you know anybody here? X, Y, and Z. A lot of this has to do with networking. If you have the capital, maybe invest in a private real estate investment club. It's not cheap. Some charge thousands a year, but it's lucrative because they bring a lot of good opportunities. They have mentorship, they have training, and that's some of the things I got involved in when I was much younger in my real estate days.
What was it called? Sorry.
Just like private real estate investment groups, right? They exist out there. They're not public, right? They're very private, but they do exist. So that's something you can reach out later on and I can have a discussion with you on that.
Okay. And do you leave your number in the chat just so that I could be able to reach out to you? Or contact or email or something?
Yeah, contact either Pauline or Taiwo, and then they'll get you in touch with me. No
okay.
Kendra, the form that Taiwo have in the chat, you fill that up, you answer the questionnaire, and then we'll put you in touch with the right person. There's also Catherine who's coming on right now. She could also be of help. So thank you, Mac. Thank you, Kendra. And Catherine, the floor is now yours. Can you take over? Thank you.
Sure.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all, and thank you for joining us this evening. I'm going to try to fix my screen a little. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and continue off from where Mark left off. a sec here. Okay. So I'm gonna start the presentation off by nailing, I guess, the nail on the head, addressing the elephant in the market today, which is interest rate. There's been a lot of talks and headlines and impact that the current state or position that we are with the interest rate has impacted the real estate market significantly. So impact of real estate buying. I'm going to talk about the pros and cons with buying real estate. So prices obviously are correct right now. Currently, if you're looking to buy, due to the interest rate being high, the biggest impact is price, where prices are not raising like it used to. Fewer bidding wars, which is also great. If you're on the buy side, there's room to create conditions. Currently, in the last few years where we're coming from, it's been very difficult for a lot of buyers to even have conditional offers. And many that I've worked with and that I've heard stories from have been able to have bought properties that they were not able to either put any conditions on, and has brought a lot of problems for them. Mortgage inspection, mortgage clause inspection, those were all clauses that we were not able to put on. But currently with the interest rate being high, the market has quieted down, so has allowed for you to be able to take your time and really investigating and getting to understand the product that you're interested in buying before you actually do buy. Some of the cons that I guess the high interest rate has brought is qualification for obtaining a mortgage on your purchases. The income that's required is much higher compared to previous, where the ratios were not as bad compared to where we're at now. When it comes to selling, if you're on the sell side, if you're upsizing, it's great because you're moving from something smaller into something bigger, and the focus really is to try to get. If you're buying a bigger home, you're carrying a lower mortgage as opposed to maybe having a smaller home. So that would be an advantage on anybody that is selling maybe something smaller and going into a bigger home. The con that I would say is disadvantage with being on the sell side is that properties are sitting longer on the market today. And it takes you have to now as a seller go through having to stage the home, having to present the home in the best possible way in order for it to sell at the price that I guess will be decent enough for the seller. When the market was booming, it didn't matter if you had damages in the home. We were selling homes without properly even staging. Everything was pretty much selling. And I think some of you who have been involved in any real estate transaction in the last 2-3 years can attest to this. When it comes to if you're on the investing side, the pros with investing is prices across the board. Resale pre-con we've seen it has pretty much corrected itself, is what I would say. Builders are not able to increase prices overnight like they used to. And resale wise, you're not having to usually like buying a home for 6 months, within less than a year, you're able to flip it and sell and see a significant gain. So that has also changed from with where we're coming from with when it comes to the interest rate. So the best real estate so that's where what has happened with the interest rate in terms of real estate investing. The best real estate product to buy now It's really dependent on the individual and what their future plans are, what their long-term goals are, and what their short-term goals are. It's based on individual circumstances. So to really truly answer that question as far as the best product to buy now in real estate, it's really based on what your long-term and short-term goals and plans are. So two types of real estate market. I wasn't sure in terms of the audience that we'll have. I know we throw out there a lot resale market, pre-con market, and I'm not sure if folks really know what that means when we say, are you interested in a resale or a pre-con? So in a resale, you're touring homes and they're listed on MLS. And these are homes that have been bought or sold in the past. So basically, you're in a resale market if that's what you're looking at, viewing homes on realtor.ca or on any of those real estate search engines, then you're in a resale market. Prices based on current market are not based on approximation. So in a resale market, the prices again are a little bit set correct, because with pre-con, how prices are set, it's an approximate price of where the estimate of where the builder believes the price will be when you're going to close. So if you're in a resale market, you tend to kind of avoid that, because these are current, you're buying at the current market value as opposed to an estimated or approximate price that a builder has set. It reduces your risk that's also associated with appraisal. We're finding currently in the market right now, one of the biggest challenges that a lot of buyers are facing is appraisal, especially with those that bought maybe years back. Appraisal is not coming in correct. Many have not been able to successfully close their purchases due to appraisal not coming in correctly. Transaction timeline is also shorter in a resale market. In a resale, typically between 30 to 90 days, you're closing and you can move into your home. The cost that's associated, closing cost is also less in a resale market. You're avoiding the developmental charges that may be and levies that are associated with having to go into a pre-con. So yeah, that's what the resale market provides. In a pre-construction market, so pre-construction is pretty much you're purchasing the home before it is built. So you will own 100% of the asset for 20% or less. Most builders are taking 20% or less to build these homes for you, and then the balance will come at the time when the home is complete. This is the key strategy to many real estate investors. They will put their deposit down, and then at the time when the home is complete, that is when they will find a mortgage and take over ownership. You have time to save for the down payment, the brand new shine. So for those that are looking to go into a brand new home that nobody has ever lived in, pre-con will provide that for you. There's less maintenance because a lot of the appliances and equipment that are in the home are newer. So low maintenance on that, as your utility bill might not rank up as much as maybe an older home that is like 50 years old. There's warranties with any new home that you purchase, whether it's condominium or low rise. It does come with a carry-on warranty, so it covers major issues that could impact the home significantly. For example, like foundation leak. It's a common buying experience because you're pretty much going into the signing paperwork. It's pretty much just paperwork that you're dealing with. There's no bidding wars in this case. I know that the market is a little calm now on both the resale and on the resale side as well, but there are still bidding wars happening in some markets. There's longer wait and delays. That could also be a plus because the longer it's taken, the more time that you're I guess gaining to save more and to prepare yourself to take over this home. There's also something called assignment sale that you do find in a pre-con market. Assignment sale is pretty much you're signing with the builder, and before it goes into closing, you're able to sell the home and at any set price that is, I guess, determined by yourself and the realtor. And most likely, it's usually set for you to gain a profit from here without you having to ever take title on the property. So I'm going to talk about one of the pre-con project that's currently selling. That in my opinion, it's one of the best to get into currently. If you're looking to still invest in real estate, I know with the interest rate being high, there has been a lot of hesitation, and a lot of people that we speak with, we find are asking to buy, but then they're looking for something with a longer closing. And some of the conversations that we've had with a lot of people is, yes, longer closing is great. You don't have to worry about mortgage now because the fear of high interest rate is there. But the downside to that too is that the longer the closing, the more inflated the price is, because it's an estimation of what the builder believes the price will be. For example, in a home that's being sold to you today with a closing of, let's say, 2028, and we do have projects and developments that have closing of 2028, 2029. Compare that to maybe something with a shorter closing. The price is set a little bit more correct. It's not as inflated because they're also dealing with the current market condition. Also, a lot of pre-con developments that are coming in the market now. Builders are not releasing new products, but they're throwing a lot of incentives out there to entice buyers to get in. So you are going into, if you're buying now, you are getting a lot of incentives that maybe people who had bought prior have not were not able to get. So now's the time to invest in Ontario's 5th biggest city. I'm just a show of hands, or maybe put it in the chat, a guess as to what that city is. Anybody? Do we know what the biggest, the 5th biggest city in Ontario is to invest in now?
London, Ontario.
That's right.
I didn't even know that. I just guessed that.
That's right, London, Ontario. So in London, Ontario, we have a developer, Avance Corp, have introduced a luxury condominium. It is one of the few, very, very few luxury condominiums in London. What is great about this particular project is its proximity to Western University and also Fanshawe. Centrally located, it's 16 minutes drive to Western University and 20 minutes to Fanshawe College. And looking at the future of real estate, looking at all of the triggers that impact the market, like interest rates, mortgage rules, elections, everything, you're really looking for something that will sustain and progress, in a long term. So having a property near schools, universities, I know that they've kind of put a pause on students coming into the country, but I believe that's just only for a limited amount time. It's almost as if we need the students to also come in. We need the newcomers and immigrants to come in order for the Canadian economy to continue to flourish and get to our 2035 goals and and plans that we have, our politicians have in place. So having a property near a school, you have access to, it's not only just the student or international student that's renting, it's also sometimes it's just, our kids and our brothers and sisters that are among us that are going outside of from home to study. will also become renters. There's teachers as well that would be looking for a place to stay or live. So that's one of the things that makes this particular project an amazing one to invest in now. Just a little bit about the development. It is by Avrens Corp Development at Springbank Drive, London. They're starting from the 500s, with closing will be between April 2025, now pushing into 2026, as things have now kind of like quiet down. In total, it's going to be 186 units from 1-bedroom to 3-bedroom suites. Size of the units are ranging from 563 square foot to 1,035 square foot. Keep in mind that these are large units. I know that somebody might be looking at the 563 and probably thinking that's fairly small, but believe me, we're selling 300 square foot condominiums in Toronto downtown, starting in the 600s. So if you put that into perspective, this is really an amazing deal. Also, the competition in investing in downtown Toronto condominium compared to investing in London is very much different. There's tons and tons and tons of condominiums in downtown Toronto right now, and you're all competing for the same tenants or people to rent. Whereas if you're looking at London, there's very few available. A lot of people are now getting tired of the basement apartment rental and are looking to go into a condominium style. And London does not have enough of that. So this would be fresh, new. There will be bus rides from the building going into the universities, and that's part of the incentives of renting or living in this building. So exclusive incentives includes property management for 2 years. These are the incentives that are currently being offered. Free maintenance fee for 2 years, free parking, free locker, free bicycle locker, free assignment. The cap levies for 1-bedroom is $8,000, and for 2-bedroom, there's also Rogers Unlimited Internet service. So these are all like over $50,000 in savings that you will be getting. And again, we encourage you to when we say take advantage of the current market situation, these are some of the incentives that we were not seeing prior, and now we're seeing that developers are pretty much cutting their prices in this way. They won't cut from their price list. Very rare that you'll see a developer cut price on their price list. But this change from where we were at to where we are now is that we're seeing a lot of incentives from builders being thrown at us. And this is our opportunity to get in. Once interest rate starts to continue to go down, as we're all hoping for, we're going to start to see price go up. So I know some people are sitting on the sideline waiting for the rate to go down even further before they make a move. But I'm pretty sure Mark will agree that the best time really to take advantage, if this is in your real estate plan, will be to buy now instead of waiting till later. Because as the rate starts to go down, we'll start to see prices go up. And I think we've kind of touched on this 5,000 cashback that will be as a rebate through the raffle that would be going towards your purchase at the time of closing. So do sign that, fill out that form and get your name in the raffle to have a chance to win this 5,000, up to 5,000 towards your closing costs. And that's brings this one here talks a little bit more about what's in London in terms of investment, the population in London, and what it's estimated to grow by 2035. The largest employers in London, top 5 area employees are listed below. About the developer again, Avrens Corp is a real estate development firm with presence in Canada and the USA. They have a solid track record in numerous residential projects across Canada and America. just to give you a little bit on their current projects that they have. So there's Wasaga Lux Condos, Georgian Bay Terrace and Harbor, and then the Wing Lux Condo. The Wing Lux Condo is in the States. So for anyone that's looking into investing in the US, I know some investors, some people are very much interested. I'm hearing a lot of talks about looking at the US market and possibly investing there. Ahrens Corp have developments there. So if you are interested in learning more, fill out the forms that's attached, connect with us, and we'll get you all the information that you need to invest. So this is the Wasaga project. It's literally a 2-3 minute walk to the Beach 5, Wasaga Beach 5. Here's the Georgian Bay Terrace one. So if you're not familiar with where Georgian Bay is, it's just right after Blue Mountains. So that's where this development is. So if this could also serve as your kind of like your resort style condominium. If you are interested in possibly looking at this there will be opportunities for short-term rental. I'm saying short-term rental and not Airbnb, because there is a difference with listing your property on Airbnb as opposed to just running a short-term rental business. So again, if that is something that you're interested in, connect with us and we will provide you with all the information that you need to make a successful investment. This is the Wings Lux Condo project, and I believe that one is in Michigan. So again, if you are interested in maybe looking at the US market, connect with us and we'll be happy to provide you with all the information that you need. And that's about it. It's just additional information about myself. And that brings me to the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you. You know, you didn't drop your number for them. So if anybody wants to connect with you, but like
they
you
can
said,
just fill the form actually,
I know.
Pauline.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're
All right,
welcome.
thank you. All right, you want to stop your sharing?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I wanted to ask something. So I wanted to just before I ask the question though, being in the real estate business for a while, it's very rare to see developers, especially in the last 5 years, give a lot of incentives. I've only stopped trading maybe a year and a half, 2 years now. But prior to that, I remember going with clients trying to get them a property, whether resale or pre-construction. And it was so difficult. Literally, the time you pick up the phone to even ask the developer if a property is available, it's already sold out. And if you don't have like good relationships with the developer, to the point where even our team that sold hundreds and sometimes thousands of units a year as a team, you couldn't even get a unit. Like as soon as I would call my team and say, hey, I have a client that wants to pick up one of the units we have for our team, it's gone. So it's kind of like parental treatment. So they gave treatment to certain agents, and then other agents they don't give certain treatment. So it was very hard to get into properties. But now when the market has turned, these developers that wouldn't give an agent a second look is now kind of begging us to come back to the table to help them sell their units. So it provides a great opportunity. And I think right now, as interest rates are starting to come down, I don't think we're going to see it in the low percentages for a very long time. I think it will come down to maybe 3.5% to 4% mark. But even so, that's historic. And honestly, that's what interest rates are kind of always been in Canada. So as it comes back to historic levels, it's an advantage now. So it's kind of like pre-construction. You don't have to get the mortgage now. So if you buy it now, you lock it in at a lower price. And then by the time you close, you lock in the rate at a much lower price than you have today. So it's kind of like you're getting the best of both worlds. Plus, they're throwing all of these incentives already. I think if you are in a position to kind of pick up a couple of rental properties or some properties in pre-con, to consider and see what that will look like for your portfolio. But those are one of the two best things I see right now because as a realtor, it was so difficult getting in for clients, and trying to negotiate with the developer was a no-no. Even trying to put a condition in there, it's like, see you later, buddy. We have 50 of thousands of people waiting in line. If you don't want it, too bad type of attitude. So now,
Right.
it has changed. So
And sorry, not to cut you off, Mark, but I just wanted to add to what you're saying. One of the things that we're also seeing is that a lot of the developers are sitting on their land right now, and they're not developing, they're not releasing the new developments yet, because the market is not at a place where they can introduce the new units at the price that they would like to. And so they're just sitting on. So a lot of what we're seeing now are what was released prior to all of this happening. And so I'm just, the only thing that I can think of is that, wow, if you're able to secure a unit right now, that by the time the rate reaches a point where builders feels like, okay, now we can come in, only God knows what price they will be coming in at. And whatever that it may be, if you have already secured a unit, it's a lot of buck for you.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. I didn't even know that. So yeah, that's even another thing that developers, they said they have a lot of money, so they can sit on units.
Exactly.
And if they're sitting on units, and when they release them, if you bought a unit from that developer and they release it out at a later date when the market's starting to pick up, sometimes you can see 20, 30, I've seen sometimes 40% gains on the property in a couple of years or 2-3 years. So yeah, I think it's a very good opportunity right now for pre-construction. Right now. There are 2 questions. I'll let you answer it, Catherine. I'll read it out.
Okay. Sorry, is it in the chat or?
Yeah, Kendra is asking, what would be a ballpark amount to start with pre-con in regards to like principal or like capital? How much money would someone need to start in pre-con?
So it's really based on what the purchase price is. If you're buying something that is, let's say, for example, 500,000, what a lot of builders, it's the deposit is spread over a year, sometimes even 2 years. They're taking maybe 10% the first year that you sign. They will take 5% in the second year. And the last 5% is not coming till closing. So if your closing is in like 2026 or 2027, that means you're really just investing at that time with just 15%. Because of the current market conditions too now, although where some of us are saying, yeah, assignment is not really like, it's not a big deal anymore, because most people are now not seeing an assignment as attractive. But having the assignment clause, it's easy. Almost every builder, we used to fight to get assignment clauses in transactions. Now they're just kind of like, it's an incentive. Here, you want assignment clause? Okay, I'll give you an assignment clause. And all that just means is that you're able to sell if you're not able to close at the time or prior to closing, you can sell the agreement. And you don't have to even go into obtaining a mortgage. So that's one of the things that I'm seeing that in the long run or years to come are going to be a great benefit to those that are going to secure a unit now. So yeah, I hope I've answered the question. It is the first 10, like the first year, it's at least 10%. Second year, another 5%. And this structure is common in condominium sales. When you go into low rise, it's slightly different. Most low rise builders are looking for up to 10%. They will still break it down. Some of them will give you about 6 months, 8 months to come up with this 10%. The thing with low rise that I find sometimes a lot of people are not aware of is that low rise usually tends to close within 8 months to a year. So if it's not fitting within your plans, or if you're not looking to get a mortgage within the next year or 2, then maybe low rise might not be the right fit. Although some people might just say, oh, well, you'll get an assignment clause, so go for it. Well, my advice is that if you don't want to go into having to get a mortgage, don't go into, unless you're moving in yourself. If you're not moving in and you're purchasing it just as an investment, perhaps, and you're not able to get a mortgage, then maybe look for something with a longer closing. Don't go into something with short closing, because they will tell you, oh yeah, if not, just assign it. But then within a year, within 8 months, you're not going to see enough appreciation just because of where we're at today. We're no longer in that COVID stages where you buy something today, by tomorrow you can earn, it has appreciated 50 grand, 100 grand. Right now, things are taking time. The market is correcting itself. And so we just have to kind of like be truthful with what our financial goals are, our long and short-term goals, and find the right product that fits your plan, your real estate plans.
I also wanted to add two things to that. Right now, when it comes to locking down a property, and like you said before, if you were to buy and put an assignment clause, as much as some people think you won't use it, I do anticipate rates will go down. And if developers start coming back, bringing inventory, raising prices, then you would have locked yourself in at a very good price, and you probably could make a decent return, but it's not guaranteed. There's an element of risk. I'll never tell a client it's going to exactly happen. We don't know when, but I know that that period will happen. And so that is one of the good things about putting an assignment clause and doing it now. I also wanted to mention, to answer, add to Catherine's point as the amount that would be needed. You also got to remember there is the builder's requirement and then there's the bank's requirement. So when you go to the bank and get a mortgage, the builder might request 10%, but based on your finances and your financials, the bank might say they need 15% or 20% down. So it will also depend on what the bank will lend you. So getting pre-approved and knowing what your financial capacity is also important. So if you do get a pre-approval letter from the bank and they say, yeah, we'll give you this amount of mortgage, then you go to the developer, they will kind of need that anyways, but you will also be able to lock in the price. So the good thing is, I always tell clients, you get to get into the property with little down right now, put 5%, 10%. But let's say the bank says they need you to put down 20%. Well, then it gives you a year or 2 years, 2.5 years to come up with the other 10% to kind of save that. And so when the banks give you their money, their mortgage, you can add the balance to it to close, right? So that's something I just wanted to add.
Mark, I have a question. Well, maybe you can help me with that. So someone who maybe not ready to purchase right now, what would you recommend them to invest in? Like, I know there's TSFA, the First Home Savings Accounts. I'm not sure if you're aware of those. And what advice would you give someone who's not ready to purchase right now, maybe in 3 years, 4 years? Where would you tell them to, to put their money to invest their money to help with the first purchase of their home?
All right. So there's so many different vehicles, and I'll name 3 off the top of my head. But again, if I sit with a client or sit with someone, I'll say, okay, these are the avenues we have, but I'll first understand where you are financially, your capacity, and I will see what your risk tolerance is, right? So maybe, for example, I would say sit with your financial advisors to see what investment options are available. That would be the first thing. So like you said, with TFSA, from my knowledge, you have certain contribution rooms you can put in and allow your money to grow basically tax-free. And if you were to put in 50K, 60K, allow it to grow, you can get that extra boost in income. And so by the time you're ready to buy, you can take it out and you don't have to pay taxes on it. That's one avenue to look at. There's other investment options that on the traditional side, financial advisors can advise you on. So that would be the first thing I would tell people to do. And sometimes people think you need a large sum of money. What I've come to understand is if smaller amounts adds up over time. Could be $100, $200. Put them small amounts away, and over time you will see it accumulate. The other option I would also say to exercise or look at, if you have a large sum, is look at places where maybe you can do private lending. There's people making a killing in the private sector. Now that's so hard to get a mortgage. Private lenders have made a lot of money where you're charging a much higher interest rate, plus you have lender fees and all of that stuff. So you can get a very good rate of return there. I've seen people start with as low as 20,000, maybe 25. If the amount of mortgage that's required and you don't have that capacity, you can pool money from other investors and do one mortgage, or you could join a mortgage or MIC or other opportunities where people kind of pool the money to lend on private mortgages around Ontario. But that's something you would definitely need a mortgage advisor, somebody who's licensed to do that, to sit down and do a KYC on you and see if you're in your capacity. And those rate of returns, I've seen 20-30% a year sometimes, but typically around 18, at least 15 to 20% you could get for sure. a year on your money. So it kind of adds up. And I know it doesn't seem a lot, but if you have 20,000 getting 5,000, if you do it for 4 or 5 years, you kind of almost doubled your money. You know what I mean? And you can easily grow your money and then use that as a plan. So there's different vehicles you can use to get started, but it really just depends on your cash flow and capacity, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Thank you. Does anybody have any other question? We've got a few more minutes and it's interactive, guys. Anybody, any questions? You have Catherine and Mac to answer those questions for you. Anyone?
I think we did a good job answering the question. Our
I
presentation.
guess so. Okay, so Taiwo, do you have any questions, anything you would like to say?
Yeah, actually, we do have a poll. If any of us, if we wanted to just take a few minutes to just answer this poll, and bear with me here, I'm just gonna open that up so we can take the time to. All right. Just 5 questions. Just wanted to know what your take is on our webinar today, and if you guys want more sessions or more information on the real estate.
How do we do the poll, Taiwo?
So it hasn't launched. You should just be able to. All right, so we have answers coming in. We're just gonna give a few more minutes, a few more seconds actually, and we can then end the poll. So far, so good. So the first question is, which aspects of real estate investing are you most interested in? So we have a lot of people, quite a few people, 57% of the people that have answered the poll said they're interested in residential properties. So we have residential properties that a lot of people are more interested in, and then we have rental properties. So maybe we need to look into residential properties here. What is your primary financial goals for attending this webinar? A lot of us have answered building long-term wealth and learning investment strategies. That's amazing. And what would be your, okay, how confident are you about your current financial knowledge? Let's see here. Neutral. So quite a few people are not very confident about their financial. Maybe only about 17% percent think they're very confident about their financial knowledge. That's amazing. All right, and would you be interested in attending more events like this in the future? 88% said they would definitely be interested. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm just gonna end the poll right now, and just take a few minutes here to follow us on Instagram. Pauline, do you have the thing there for the Instagram page? The Billionaires Connect. I'm not sure if I do have it here. Okay, I don't have it here. But you can follow us on Instagram or Facebook, the Billionaires Connect. I'm going to drop the link, and we're going to be sending you more information regarding our next webinar. We might be having another webinar, but it all depends on what you guys are interested in. If you guys want to hear, if you fill the form out come out, you want to let us know if you guys want to learn more about deeper one-on-one sessions with Catherine and Mark. If not, we're just gonna let you know when our next webinar will be. So thank you so much, everyone, and have yourself a good night.
Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for having me.